Well, again, it's Mark Summers from Summers Technical Services. We're going to continue on with our video series here. So I've got my machine set up. I'll go over here to Toolpaths. I can see my machine group set up. Got my stock set up. And I've got my display like I want it, my ISO view. So I'm going to start creating some 2D geometry that I can use to make my toolpaths. I prefer to use 2D milling operations for something simple like this. And I'm just going to create 2D geometry based on this 3D geometry of the part I merged in earlier. So I'm going to look down from the top so I can get a better view of this thing. So I'm going to go to View and ask for a top view. And I want to mill down this surface here. And so let's take a look at that. I want to start off with a 1/4 inch flat end mill. And we're going to remove all this material around here. I'm going to leave 3 posts and drill a hole. You're going to do just the opposite. You're going to be making 1 post, drilling 3 holes. Some of you will have this inner pocket in here or not, depending on your student ID, in odd or even. So I need to make some 2D geometry to represent that pocket that I want to make on this thing. So I don't want my end mill to be defined by staying inside this 2 by 2 inch square. It needs to go past that so that it can create a flat surface all the way across this top surface. So what I'm going to do is make some 2D geometry. So I want to come to top view. What I want to do is I want to offset these edges 1/4 inch so my end mill makes sure to get out here far enough to remove that material I'm looking for. So if I go to wireframe and come look for a button over here, there's an offset entity button. And I can choose this edge here. Just pretty much do what it says. Indicate the offset direction. I'm going to click up here. And it remembered my last time I did this at a 1/4 inch. Instead of hitting the green checkbox, I'm going to hit the blue checkbox. That'll approve that one, and it lets me move to the next offset. So I'm going to say, OK, blue. I'm going to grab this edge, offset it this way. OK, blue. Grab this one, offset this way. Check the blue. Last one's here. Offset this way. And then I hit the green checkbox to get that all done. So now if I do back to my ISO view, see what this looks like. And so those lines are down on this surface is a 1/4 inch low. I'm going to build all my geometry on the top of stock to keep my head straight on where this geometry is. So I'm going to do another transform. And I'm going to go translate. And I want to translate. It asks me to select the entities. I want to select this one, this one, this one, and this one. In selection. And I don't want to copy, I want to move. And I want to go delta. Which way do I want to go? I want to go delta Z. I want to go positive Z direction, 1/4 inch. I want to type in 0.25 here. Or yeah, 0.25. Enter. And you see they moved up there. It's giving me a preliminary display of what it's going to be. And so I'm going to like that. And I'm going to hit the green checkbox to approve it. So I didn't really have to do that, but I just like to show you how to do some of this wireframe transformation commands. So now what I need to do is I need to make this a closed loop. And so what I'm going to do is come over here back to wireframe. And I'm going to say, let's do, where is it? I want to trim to entities. Trim to entities, it also extends as well. So I'm going to click this command. And what it does is I want to grab the first entity that's going to trim or extend. And then I click the entity I want to trim or extend it to. So I'm going to click this one, and then this one, and then this one, and this one. I'm going to go all the way around the horn here. That one extends to here. This one extends to here. That one extends to here. And this one extends to here. So I got one more over here. This one extends to here. This one extends to here. So if these things aren't on exactly the right Z plane, they'll give you an error about not intersecting, but it looks like that looks good. Okay, so now I think I'll make some more geometry to represent these posts and the geometry here. So I'm going to go make a circle. And I want to put the circle, I want to put a circle over here. I'll just grab that edge. Not clicking yet. I want to hover over it and then get that center point. So I want to go right there. And I want to type in my diameter. It needs to be 1/4. Type correctly. And I'm going to lock that in so it doesn't change in the future. I want to make several 1/4-inch holes. So there's one. I will hit the blue check box. And I'll make another one over here. I'm going to hover over that geometry. It'll highlight a center point there, and I can grab it. And it's locked down to 1/4, so I want to hit a green check box on that. I'm going to do another one over here. Not clicking until I get to the center point there. And hit the blue check box. And I'll do one more over here for this guy. There's a center point. I'm clicking right there. And I'll hit the green check box. Now this one, again, it doesn't really matter. It's just a Z doesn't matter. But I want to go ahead and transform this thing up 1/4 inch so we can do some practice wireframe geometry. So I want to transform, I want to translate, I want to select this guy, say in selection, and I want to move it up 1/4 inch. And there it goes, hit the green check box. Okay, I want to make 2 more circles. I want to make a circle on the outer and inner here. That should take care of all my geometry I need. So I'm going to go to wireframe, circle, center point. I want to hover over this edge. I get the green dot in the middle. I go grab it. And I'm going to change this to 1-inch diameter. There it is. Hit the blue check box. Do another one here. Hover over there, get the green dot in the middle, click it, and then change this to 0.5, I think it is, and hit the green check box. So now I've got 2D geometry on this top of plane here, or top of stock, and I'm going to use that to make my 2D toolpaths. So I'm going to save this thing, as I like to do, save often. And let's see if we can do some toolpaths here. So I'm going to come to toolpaths, and I've got 2D toolpaths and 3D toolpaths, multi-axis, got all kinds of options. We're going to start simple here. We're going to use the pull down here under 2D. We've got contours, drills, pockets, slot mills. We've got all these different options, and the best way to learn about these is just to try them and see what kind of toolpaths they make to expand your knowledge of using Mastercam. So since our first part, I'm going to do something simple, or I think it'll be simple anyway. I'll do a pocket, and it pops up, and it's giving me some options here. I can hover over these and see. I don't want to do 3D. I just want to draw on the construction plane, which right now is set to the top of stock. And I can select. This one says I can do a chain. This one partial. I'm going to do a chain for this perimeter. And when I do that, I just select one of these. And it's smart enough to go all the way around. There's a start point going all the way around. Now I'm going to select this circle right here. And this circle right here. And this circle right here. This circle right here. So really what I want is I want to whack out everything inside that box up to and including everything up to that circle and these 3 circles here. I think that'll give me what I want. So I'm going to hit the green check box. And now it jumps into my toolpaths. And this thing has got an unbelievable amount of options. And we're not going to click on every one of them and go through all the details. We're just going to pick the ones that I think are going to be most important. And as we get our final toolpaths, we'll be able to see and check with some of the experts down in the Ingram Hall makerspace to see if we need to change any. So first thing I need to do is pick a tool, and I want to hit this button here to go look at the tool library. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of tools. We're going to have our own separate tool library that has a subset of tools we'll be using for our beverage cooler project. But I don't have that loaded on this computer yet, so I'm just going to pick them based on this exhaustive list. So I want to scroll down until I start seeing some flat end mills. And there's some right here. I need to find a 1/4 inch flat end mill. There it is right there. So I select that and say OK. And you can see this is tool 285. We're not going to be able to use that when we do when you do your real tool pass. We need to use a special class tool library that's going to be identified as one of the 20 or so tool spots we have in our POS there in the makerspace. So we'll do it now like this, and we'll look forward to getting that abbreviated class tool library to use. So I'll say OK. And the next option I think I'll try is cut parameters. We normally want to do climb cuttings. This down here, I always forget to change this. This is if you want to leave material on the walls and the floor. And so I want my cut to go all the way to the floor and the wall. So I'm going to make these 0. And go to the next button here, roughing. And so this is where I've got more options here. And so parallel, spiral, we'll just have to try these out and see how they work. I'm going to pick zigzag and see what happens. And entry motion tells you how it's going to enter and leave the tool path. I'm going to leave that like it is. Finishing, we'll not do that yet. Lead in and out. This is how the tool goes into the part and comes out of the part. And we'll leave this as a default. SolidWorks. Mastercam is guessing what we want, and we'll just hope that it's okay. Depth cuts, I will do this. What I want to do is do different depth cuts. I'm going to turn that on. And what this does, it lets me do roughing cuts to begin. And then at the very end, I can do a number of finish cuts that are going to go much less material removal. So that last finished pass is going to give us a nice, smooth surface on our part. So I'm going to turn on depth cuts, maximum rough step edge. I may say that's the step that you're going down every time you do another pass. So I'll set that for 1/8 of an inch. And I say I want one final finish cut, and I want it to be 50 thousandths. And this has got feed rates, spindle speeds. We're going to just leave those as default, and we'll have to go check those. We can modify those later as needed. Linking parameters is a big one here. Let's look at it. This tells me the different stages of me approaching my part. And so retracted is when the tool is all the way out of the part, and I can do really fast, rapid moves to do tool changes or move around in X and Y. I don't want to be moving around in X and Y if my tool is inside my part. So retract is up here. For purposes of the class, we're going to have everybody switch these to absolute. You can do incremental. That takes it incrementally from where the location of the tool happens to be. But I think it's easier as a beginner like me to do absolute so I can keep track of absolute coordinates. So retract. So say I want this thing to retract 1/2 inch from the top of the stock. And the feed plane is when that's the level at which it starts feeding at the feed approach speed. So I want to make that maybe 1/4 of an inch above. Top of stock is, in our case, is set to 0. And I want the depth of this thing to be not 1/4, but -1/4. Because the top of stock is Z equals 0. So the depth in Z is going to be -1/4. And then maybe I'll just come down here and do coolant. And normally for our aluminum parts, we will have coolant turned on. For this ring-shaped material, we'll leave that off. But I'll turn it on just for fun. Or maybe I'll turn it off. I don't want to have that coolant flying around. We can just cut it without coolant, since this is ring-shaped material. All right, and again, I've got all these other parameters, feeds and speeds. I'm just going to leave those as default for now. going to say OK, and it made my toolpath successfully, which makes me happy. So you can see this is I believe they call it a back plot. It gives you the path that the center of the tool is making. And you can see it's doing this zigzag pattern, and it looks like it did what I wanted. It took out all that top surface, it left the post there, and it went all the way into that outer ring in the middle. And so that looks okay. I think that looks good. We can verify our tool paths. We've got a nice little simulation tool in here. I'll show you while we're here. So looking at my tree over here, I've got one tool path I just made, and I can come in here and edit this geometry as needed if I need to. So I'm going to select this first button. I'm going to hover over. That's going to select all the operations. And if I come over here and click on backplot, let's go do that. And I get this pop-up here, and what it's going to do is it's going to show me, whoops, didn't mean to undock that. It's going to show me what this tool path is doing. So I'm going to hit the play button. And it's going pretty fast here. I need to slow it down. Let me hit the slow button. The buttons are so small, can't quite see it. As you can see, it's going through and tracing out the path. And I can see maybe my choice of that zigzag pattern might not have been very optimum because it seems like it's taken a long time. And if I go back, and where is the speed? Verify. Somewhere in here there's some, oh, here it is up here. Maybe step back, forward. Step, play. All right, so that's the back plot. And that's useful to see what the toolpath's doing. I want to close that and show you another simulation tool we can use. Somehow I've got to dock this thing back up there. And I'm not quite seeing how to do that. So we'll leave it undocked for now. Somebody can show me in class how to fix it. All right, so let's go look at another simulation tool. I'm going to select all operations again. And instead of hitting the backplot button, I'm going to hit this verify selected operation. And it's going to open up a new window. It gives me a more graphical interface to show me what's happening. So there's my part, there's my stock, and I can select these stop conditions. I want to turn on stop between operation changes and stop between tool changes, and click off of that. And I'm going to come over here and select this play button. I'm going to slow it down a little bit here. And I'm going to hit play. And why is it not cooperating? What did I do wrong? Let's try that again. Maybe I should have saved this thing before I went in there. Uh-oh. Am I locked up? Mastercam? No, it came back. All right, let's try that again. There we go. That docked it back on there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select all operations. There's a button over here to regenerate all operations. I'm going to regenerate in case if you change any parameters, you have to regenerate it. So it looks like it's updated. Let's try one more time. I'm going to hit this button, select all operations, select this button right here, verify selected operations. There we go. There's my tool. And I got my stop conditions like I want them. Let's see. Yep. And so I'm going to slow this thing down and hit play and see what happens. So it's going in. This is the first roughing pass. Looks like it's leaving my post like I want it. And you can see that tool goes beyond the edge of the part so that it gets a full cut. So that's why I had to offset those lines a 1/4 inch from the edge of the part. So that looks like this is pass number 2. And I asked it to go down no maximum step down 1/8 of an inch. So it's wrapping around there and did that one. Now it's going back and doing a third roughing cut, looks like. and tracing around and doing it. I keep an eye over here on the right hand side. I can see how much time this is. This is a 30-minute operation. So I suspect there's going to be a lot much more optimal way. That's the that's the finishing pass. At the very end, it's taking off that last 50 thousandths to give me a nice smooth part. And so it's winding that up. But yeah, 30 minutes seems like too long to make this part. So I need to change that zigzag to another option. So we'll talk about options, or you can try different options and see. So this is finishing up here. All right, so I'm done with that. So let's go back and see if we can do the other toolpath. So I'm going to close this window, come back to my Mastercam part here. So now I'm going to do another pocket. So I'm going to come over here and say, I'm going to use the pull down here. I want to choose pocket again. And now it's started another toolpath. And I just need this one circle here. So I want to select this circle I drew earlier right here and say OK. And again, choose my tool. And look at that. Remember the tool I had last time, 1/4 inch end mill. That's what I want. We'll go to cut parameters, climb again. You remember from last time that I wanted no stock to leave on the walls of the floor, so that's good. Roughing, I'll do zigzag again. And finishing, we'll talk about that later. Depth cuts, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. It remembers my settings, so I'll leave it like it is. Linking parameters, it remembered what I did last time. 0.5, 1/4. Copper stock is 0. This needs to be -1/4. Oh, there goes my line. -1/4, so that's going to take it down to that 1/4 inch pocket. Again, your depths are going to be different because you've got to make your gaps, radial gaps, and depth gaps. And so when you draw your circles on yours, you're not going to be drawing 1/4 inch circles. You'll be drawing whatever size you need for your features. So that looks good, and the coolant is still off like it was a minute ago. So I'll say OK and see if it'll create a second toolpath for me. And it looks like it did. Maybe I can select this pocket here and go back to toolpaths, or not toolpaths, go up here to backplot, selected operations. And I can play this and see what it looks like. There's a play button right here. So it goes down. You can see it just draws that line, that blue line, to show you where the center of the tool goes. So it's going back, doing a zigzag pattern. And it looks like it's doing what I wanted. And I can speed this thing up using one of these buttons up here. Different options up there. Okay, it looks like it's done. So maybe I'll think that's okay. Now I'm going to go do my last two operations. I'm going to do a peck drill with a 1/4 inch drill to drill part of this hole just to kind of get it started. And I'm going to come back with an 1/8 inch end mill to do the final wallering out, milling out of that pocket. So I'm ready for a third tool path. So I'm going to come up here to tool paths. I'm going to use the pull down for 2D, and I want to do a drill. And it's going to ask me where the hole is. I'm going to select the center of this circle I drew right here. So there's the circle. And I want to zoom in and find the center of the circle. There it is, right? It's kind of hard to see, isn't it? Right there. I think I got the center of the circle. I'll say OK. And we'll go to Tool. I got to pick a new tool now. So I'm going to go to the tool library, and I want to find a drill. I need a 1/4 inch drill. And am I there yet? 1/4 inch drill. Okay. And I'm going to go to cut parameters, and I want to do a peg drill. What that does is when we're drilling these holes, you don't want to just go down and keep drilling sometimes. Sometimes you want to go down to do a peck, mainly with metal materials to get the chips out of the way. So you can go down, it'll peck your way down. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So maybe I'll make the pecks go down 1/10 of an inch, and we'll leave it at that. And I'm going to go to linking parameters and retract 0.5, top of stock. Now the top of stock, I want the hole to start not at the top of stock, but I want it to start a 1/4 inch down where that new surface is. And so top of stock I want to define as negative 0.25. And then the depth of the hole, I'm not going to go a full 1/4 inch because I don't want that point, the little point at the bottom of the twist drill. It's got a 118-degree angle on the bottom, and I don't want that to go down beyond a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to say I'm going to go down another 1/8 of an inch from the top of the stock. So I'm going to say negative 0.375. That's the depth of the hole, not including the tip, from the top of stock. And so top of stock is a 1/4 below. I'm going to go another 1/8 of an inch. That's negative 3/8. We've got this temp compensation we'll talk about later. That's how you can handle making sure this tip of this twist drill doesn't get in the way. So I'm going to say that's okay now, and I'm going to leave it cooling off. So I'm going to say okay on that one. And it's created a third tool path for me. And now I'm going to do the last one, which is this 1/8 inch end mill. So I'm going to come back up here and use the pull down. Maybe I'll save this thing in case something craps out. Save. All right, one more tool path here. I'm going to do another pocket. And I'm going to choose my geometry to be this same circle here. That's where I want to take the perimeter to. And so that's a 1/4 inch. So my pocket is going to be a 1/4 inch diameter. Yours will be different based on your gaps you're trying to maintain. So I'll approve that geometry. And now I need to go pick another tool. And I'm going to go browse my tool library and find an 1/8 inch flat end mill. You may choose to use a 1/4 inch flat end mill. I got to go down here till I get to the end mills. Flat end mill, 1/8 inch flat end mill. And I'm going to go through these parameters. Cut parameters, that still looks good. Roughing, I'll go ahead and use a zigzag. Didn't work very well last time, but I'll stick with it. We'll leave that all alone. Lead in and out, we're going to leave alone. Depth cuts, we'll do the same story on the depth cuts. Linking parameters. All right, see if I can get this right. 0.5, feed plane 1/4. Top of stock, again, is going to be negative 1/4 because we've taken that material off 1/4 of an inch. So now where the surface of that hole is a 1/4 inch down below top of stock. I want a 1/4 inch deep hole. So I got to go another 1/4 inch down from the top of stock. So that'd be negative 0.5. And the coolant's still going to stay off, so I'm going to say okay. All right, and you can see these, it's got different color codings for the different operations. The yellow must be the coming down to the feed plane. The blue is actually cutting material. And so these color codes are convenient when you get a complicated tool path. You can kind of keep track of which line is which. So I'm going to save this real quick and do one last simulation. So I'm going to select all tool, select all operations. So now I got a checkbox. See the little checkbox next to all 4 of them? I want to see the simulation of all 4 of them. I'm going to click this button right here that says verify selected operations. And what happened to my window? Here we go. So now it's sitting waiting to play it for me. These settings I assume are still the same. Yep. I'm going to slow it down nicely here. So let's see if we can get an idea how this thing is working. I want to play it. Comes down and does a zigzag. There's the first roughing pass. It looks pretty good. It's taking a long time, but that's okay. For now, we'll try to optimize it before you actually make the real part. Here comes the second roughing pass. Approximately, I told it not to go more than 1/8 of an inch on the roughing passes. Might have bumped that up. I don't know that I needed three roughing passes. There's a third roughing pass. I probably should have bumped up that 1/8 inch number so it only gives me 1 or 2 roughing passes. Since we're just cutting this ring shaped material. And here comes the finishing pass, that 050 finishing pass to get all those surfaces cleaned up. It's going down and taking care of that. And close to the end on that. And it will stop because it's an operation change. Oh no, it's keeping going there. Oh, that was part of that first feature. So you see it's going down and doing the same thing. There's my drill, and there's the pocket. Making that pocket out there, and my part's done. So I guess I didn't have that turned on. I'm not sure why I didn't stop on the operation change. Just went all the way through. So anyway, maybe that's enough for now. So thanks for watching. This should get you started on your tool paths. We're going to be working on those Tuesday, and you're going to be wanting to go down to the makerspace and make your part on that Haas 3-axis machine before the end of the week. So we'll see you in class on Tuesday.